Hey Scorpio, so this is the second attempt to make this video. Some craziness erupted as I began recording the first time. Guys, I don't know. I don't know if some of you are dealing with a Leo because some craziness happened when I was recording the Leo energy, and there was something in there with like negativity or people trying to keep, you know, this divine connection from happening, which they weren't going to be able to. So I don't know, things just kind of went haywire. They went a little bit crazy when I started recording with my candles. So everything is cleared, everything is stable, everything is ready now. I'm just putting that out there. Maybe some of you have something coming up, something intense or something karmic with a Leo. Not necessarily, but we'll see what the cards have to say as I pull them out. Scorpio and Leo generally is not the most compatible sign. But it depends. It depends on your spirituality level, your maturity level, what other planets are in your chart. But we'll see what's happening for you Scorpios in this mid-month update. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, my darlings. King of Swords. Okay, so maybe some of you are not dealing with a Leo. Maybe you are dealing with an air sign. Air sign. So this could be Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. I can't believe I drew a blank. It could be Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, where there's just this energy of trying to come to an agreement or a negotiation. Okay, so when King of Swords comes up, it tells me a couple of different things. Number one, you could be dealing with an air sign, but not necessarily. Sometimes it's not even an air sign. In my readings, King of Swords tends to be the type of person that looks at everything from a business standpoint. They're always going to look at a situation in terms of what's in it for me. Like, what am I going to get out of it? And they can even be a little bit sneaky in the way that they're going to convince you that you giving them what they want is what's best for you, you know? And in some ways, there could be a positivity in that if they really are mature and if they are stepping up and if they are doing an even give and take or finding a way to like give you something and you give them something and there's that compromise. But this feels to me, whatever is happening in your love life, it might not be feeling super passionate or super romantic. This could be more getting down to the business of things. Maybe some of you Scorpios, if you're anything like me, you just might not even be focused on love right now. You might be really, really busy with your everyday tasks and like whatever's happening in work or business. You might be in business mode right now. So this could just mean that it's you as a Scorpio where you've been in business mode and you haven't really been thinking about, you know, dating, or you haven't had time for dating, or you've just kind of been in, I gotta get my life in order, I gotta get my shit together. It may just be where you're in that mode. You're in that energy. Again, you know, we're going to experience these cards and these energies in different ways. I had someone comment the other day really annoyed with me that I really wish you wouldn't go through so many scenarios because I heard my scenario and then you said something else and I didn't want you to talk about that. I wanted you to talk about my scenario only. I can't do that, guys. I mean, there could be 500 people that watch this video. There could be 10,000. I don't know. And not every single person is going to have the same exact situation. So I try to explain the different ways in which you might be feeling this energy. But King of Swords typically is going to be all in the head. all about thinking, all about planning, not so much in the heart. So some of you could be dating somebody, or you might be getting to know someone and you're frustrated because you feel like they're not stepping up or they're not being expressive. You know, Scorpios are very passionate when we're comfortable with somebody. And so you're wanting to be comfortable with that person, and you're wanting more of the that passion or that expressiveness. But with the air sign, you know, they're very, and I'm not trying to say air signs aren't passionate, but they're very much in the head. They're very much in the mental or in the intellectual space. And so when it comes to love matters, King of Swords specifically, King of Swords, this guy here, this character in the story, is not a lovey-dovey person. Like, he's not expressive, he's not cuddly, he's not going to comfort you after a hard day of, you know, whatever you've been through. He's not very emotional. So some of you may be dealing with a situation where you're kind of longing for some emotional intimacy, but you're not getting it. And so you feel like you're getting mixed signals about a person because you think they're into you, but they're not being expressive. It's not that they're not into you, it's just that they're not expressive people. So for some of you, you're having to make a decision. Can I live with this or can I not live with this? You know, so that is something that you need to figure out about however King of Swords is showing up in your life. Some of you who are lonely and you're like, why, you know, why hasn't anybody showed up? It could just be that you're too much in this business mode and you got to get out more. You got to socialize more. Ooh, Hierophant. that got serious real quick. All right, so Hierophant could be a commitment, an agreement. So maybe, gosh, okay, King of Swords. We just said King of Swords is very much about business, right? And about trying to convince you that you giving him what he wants is also going to be good for you. King of Swords is the negotiator. King of Swords is the deal maker. The Hierophant is the spiritual teacher, or the priest or the religious leader. So it can have to do with ethics and value. And it can also have to do with a commitment. Hierophant could signify things like engagement or marriage, or, you know, just making a commitment or a promise in some way to someone. So it could be that for some of you, you're getting into this planning stages with a person. Maybe there's some interest here and it's just coming out that like, hey, like I'm serious about this, or I want this to go somewhere. But before, you know, we can commit or we can work towards committing, here's what some of the ground rules are going to be early on, or here's how it's going to work, or here's what I'm looking for, what are you looking for. For some of you, there's negotiating happening with a person in the love life where it doesn't feel so super romantic. For other ones of you, I feel some of you are receiving some kind of ultimatum having to do with your spiritual path. Okay, maybe this is someone who is trying to drag you into church. Maybe this is someone who feels like you're way too much into the psychic stuff or the crystals or the incense or the candles. And they're like, look, I like you, but this kind of freaks me out. For some of you, it could just be where someone is giving you some kind of guidance or they're wanting to step in and help you in some way. But this definitely does feel, Scorpio, that many of you are coming to an understanding or an agreement with someone. So if you're completely and totally single, you may be coming out of business mode and getting more involved with the things that are important to you, the things that you're committed to. And so through that, you may be meeting a like-minded person or someone who's very supportive of you. You might be like, hey, maybe I should go to some workshops, or maybe I should check out some drumming circles, or maybe I should go to like a full moon release. I know I've been dying to do more of that stuff myself. I haven't been doing enough of them. So whatever it might be, or you know, taking a yoga class or volunteering at an animal shelter, or whatever it is that you're into, you know, some of you may be wanting to go do things that are fulfilling to you on a soul level, and you may be meeting a person through that way. For other ones of you, it's just there's somebody right now, either you're dating them, or they've got their eye on you, you've got your eye on them, you guys are trying to see if it's going to work, and you all are having to come to an agreement how you're going to make these differences work. You know, just your different ways of seeing things. Ooh, Scorpio, 5 of Swords. So, this person's not going to budge. This person's not going to budge. When we have 5 of Swords coming up, it's when a very small inconvenience or injustice or aggravation can blow up into being a big deal, more so than necessary. So someone could say something to you where you have a right to be offended or you have a right to be upset, but it can go really, you know, it can go from 0 to 10 really quick. It could escalate really quick. And the issue with 5 of Swords is if you're not careful here, Scorpio, and I feel this is the Scorpio, this isn't the person that you're dealing with. This isn't the, you know, this isn't like the air sign or the Hierophant that you may be dealing with. If I'm not mistaken, I think Hierophant is Taurus. I know the High Priestess is Taurus. I could be wrong. I'm sure one of you will correct me if I am wrong. So whatever, you know, if this is, you know, whatever sign this is, I feel like the 5 of Swords is more you, and I'll tell you why. Because, you know, we sting. Scorpios have a tendency to sting. So if somebody is confronting you about something that you feel insecure about, or something that you feel is like out of bounds, or is disrespecting you in some way, we can get pretty upset. And we can be, as Scorpios, we can be really, when something is something that we believe, we can really hold on to it very tightly, and have it very deeply rooted within us. Now, with the 5 of Swords, you're going to have to ask yourself, you know, is this really a deal breaker for me? Like, you're going to have to calm yourself down before maybe you can even respond to whatever you're being confronted with. Because if you respond from that emotional place or from that offended place, especially if you're dealing with the King of Swords personality, King of Swords could be a little bit stubborn. So here we have 2 stubborn people. It can escalate into something big to the point where you might just completely write each other off and be like, well, then we're not even going to talk. So you have to calm yourself down before you can respond to this person. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. You can just be like, look, you know, I'm kind of maybe taken aback by this, and I just need some time before I can respond. Let me think about this. Let me wrap my head around this, and then we can continue the conversation. I'm not blowing you off. I'm not ignoring you. Just let me process this, and let's talk after I've processed it, and I can talk about it with a clear head. The reason why I'm saying this, the reason why I'm saying don't write this person off, is you have the Hierophant here. And the Hierophant can be a really good thing. The Hierophant could be a lot of structure, a lot of stability, even a lot of support. You know, we're not talking about like the Knight of Wands here, who's just like coming in to hit it and quit it. Like this could be a very important person. This could be a good ally for you. And a lot of this reading does continue from the February love reading for Scorpio, because we did get that some of you were going to have somebody show up with an ultimatum, or you were going to have somebody who was showing up and maybe was like a little bit demanding about certain things. And we did have in that reading that somebody might be pulling you into a relationship before exposing something to you, or telling you the full story about a matter or a situation. So somebody could have some things going on in the past. Somebody could have had a situation where, I don't know, there could be an issue about having, like, you know, father to child, or having father to child with somebody who like didn't have it or gave it up for adoption or whatever it might be. There could be some deep stuff going on that they haven't resolved yet, or they haven't cleared up yet. It could just be things in the past. It could be legal issues. It could be all kinds of stuff. It could just be things that they don't feel proud about. So some of you might have that as your 5 of Swords moment. Some of you, it might not even be about, hey, I don't like this about you, or hey, I need you to change this. It could just be, hey, by the way, here's some things about me you probably should know before we go in further. And so Five of Swords is saying, just think about it before you respond. Don't be quick to write this off, because this could be a very fulfilling relationship in a lot of other ways, okay? It doesn't need to escalate. It doesn't need to become a huge, massive deal. Judgment. These are heavy cards. Ooh, goodness gracious. I want to go back to bed. Alright, guys. This is definitely having to do with spiritual path for some of you. We have the Hierophant, and that's spirituality, and that's belief. That's like your principles. That's like, you know, your ethics. And we have a Judgment, which also speaks of ethics and beliefs. So you're going to have to make a big decision with this person. Okay? Some of you, it's somebody you've had this ongoing off again, on again thing forever. For some of you, it's maybe somebody that you've known a while and they're wanting to become serious with you. It doesn't feel like a brand new person to me, Scorpio. For some of you, it may really come out of left field. It may really surprise you that somebody you've known for a while or that you've known of is suddenly stepping to you and you all are clicking or having a certain degree or a certain level of connection. But this feels to me like you're having to make decisions and maybe even in some case sacrifices, okay? Maybe someone is asking you to give up a career to stay home and have children. Or maybe somebody is asking you to give up on your, you know, dream of having children. Or maybe somebody is asking you to convert or change your religion. It's something pretty big. It's something pretty big. And you're going to have to take some time to think about how you feel about that. You're going to have to take some time to think about how you can honor this person's requests while still being true to you. Because some of you might really love this person, or some of you might really feel drawn to this person, and you may not necessarily want to write them off. But this, I'm like getting this feeling of like walking on a tightrope. There's a very thin line here. There's a very thin line here. So maybe some of you are being asked to keep certain aspects about your life or your religion a secret from others, I guess I want to say. You know, maybe you're a mystic and this person wants you to just kind of be low-key about it. You know, maybe you have a religious background or an upbringing that other people aren't going to understand and they don't want you to talk about it. Or maybe just like I said, it could be things in terms of career and having children and other ways that are affecting the values that you had envisioned for yourself for a relationship that you're having to reconsider. I feel for some of you, you're dealing with a situation where this person might not be on the same level as you are spiritually. They may be more into the ego. They may be more into the materialistic. And there may be a lesson there in which the universe has brought you two together to balance each other out. And that's going to be, again, that tightrope walk. It's going to be a fine balancing act. Okay, we've got 8 of Swords, my darlings. This is heavy, and you're not wanting to process this. You're not wanting to make a decision. You don't want to. By the end of this conversation or whatever it is you're being approached with, you're not wanting to make a decision, or you are feeling limited in some way. You're feeling limited in some way. But I don't understand why you would even make this decision. Hold on. I need a clarifier for 8 of Swords. I feel like you're making a decision or you're going along with something, but 8 of Swords makes me feel like you feel forced to do it, and I want to understand why. because we have free choice. We have free will. And Eight of Swords is letting you know that. Eight of Swords is letting you know that being trapped is in your mind and you can step out of it at any time. But I want to understand why Scorpios are feeling that way. It's a new way of thinking. It's a new way of going about things. You're being challenged, Scorpio. You're being challenged about your beliefs. You're being challenged about your way of seeing things. You're being pushed out of your comfort zone in some way. Okay? Some of you may have this person that's taking you and introducing you into their group of friends or into their family or into their circle, and you're feeling hella out of place. You know, you might be dealing with a person where people might look at you guys and say, oh, I wouldn't have figured you guys together, or I wouldn't have matched you up together, but there could be a really strong spiritual connection or soul connection in which you two have gravitated towards one another. But you two are definitely challenging each other to come into a different way of thinking and into a different way of being. Some of you are feeling, this is what's coming in intuitively, some of you are feeling Eight of Swords because I think this person feels, this is what I think is happening, and I think this is what the Five of Swords is about. This is what just came into me intuitively because I just heard friends and family. It could be that this person genuinely is concerned about you, and maybe they feel like you are really giving of yourself to friends or to family that are depleting you or that are taking advantage of you in some way. And so they might be making it very clear to you that they want to create a life with you, but there's certain things that you've been doing for others that like they can't tolerate. Some of this could be about finances. If there's people in your life who are dependent on you financially, they may be saying like, hey, if we're going to create a life together, then, you know, those people are going to have to figure something else out. It could just be where this person is concerned about you spending time with certain people. Now, because the Hierophant is coming up, I don't feel this person is being abusive, like trying to isolate you from friends and family in an abusive way to control you. I do feel like it's coming from a good place. I do feel like they're genuinely concerned about you, but you're feeling bad about it, right? So some of you are feeling like you have to choose between your current life and where did the Ace of Swords go? I may have put it back into the deck. Oh, some of you are feeling like you have to choose between your current life and just a completely new life, right? But then you have the Eagles here. So you are being offered freedom, but you might be afraid to take that step. Some of you might be dealing with commitment issues. Some of you might be like, man, I really was wanting something for such a long time, and now that it's here, like you're second guessing it or you're afraid if you can trust it. Let's see what the angel message is, because I'm sure that's going to give us more clarity. Check out your moon sign and rising sign video too, guys, Scorpio. I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at the Taurus reading to figure out myself. Like, I don't remember what was said in it. But, you know, that's going to bring in, check out your moon sign and rising sign, because that's going to bring in more information. And it'll make more sense to you what these decisions are. But I can guarantee you, Scorpio, you're making some big decisions. And for those of you who are single and you don't have anybody right now, it could be very much that somebody's coming in out of the blue. And chances are 9 out of 10 that it's not necessarily a new person. It's somebody that you have known and you didn't know that they felt that way about you. But let's check out the angel message. You may need a private reading, my darlings, and this is a good week to do it. I'm having a sale, but I will talk about that at the end of this video. So if you want to know about that, stick around to the end. We're almost done. Faith. Ooh. I just got chills. And just something about this card makes me think of my grandmother. And something that she said to me, but I won't get into that long, boring story. But it definitely, this had significance for me. So when the Faith card is coming up, it's wanting you to know that it's okay for you to trust this new offer. It's okay for you to trust this person. You know, I think a lot of you have been kind of out on your own for a very long time. I think a lot of you have been very independent for a very long time. You fought your battles alone. You've always stood up for yourself. You haven't really had anybody like to come in and rescue you. And it's so funny because as I'm saying this, what popped up in my head, I know this sounds so random, but if you've seen it, you're going to know exactly what I mean. You're going to know exactly what I mean if you've seen it. But the Shrek movie, part 3, Shrek has this dream where he never rescued Princess Fiona. Or I don't know if he has a dream or he somehow goes into like an Ebenezer Scrooge kind of altered dimension. But like he sees what would have happened if he never rescued Princess Fiona. And basically she just frees herself. She gets out of that tower, and she becomes like the warrior leader of the ogre people, and she's like super badass, and she's like fighting with a sword and like beating everybody up, and she's like super powerful, and he feels like, man, I can't even approach her because she doesn't need me. Everybody loves her. There's all these people that like want her attention. She's got no use for me. I'm just some big ordinary boring ogre. And so some of you are like that version of Princess Fiona. Some of you are like the Princess Fiona, or the princess who rescued herself, or the prince who rescued himself, and so you're very strong. You've been very independent. And so when somebody comes up to you with an offer, it as much as you've wanted it, like, heck yes, I don't want to fight my battles alone. Heck yes, I want somebody in my life. When you do have somebody that's stepping up and like for real offering this, it can be scary. It can be scary because it forever changes what you're used to, right? Even though they're offering you something good, it's scary to accept it because it's so different from the life that you have had, all right? So that can be very fear-inspiring in some ways. But your angel message here is to have faith. Have faith that this can work out. Trust in this offer. Have faith and trust that your angels and guides are guiding your love life. Listen to your intuition. Some of you are full on turning back to some kind of faith in terms of like your prayer or your spirituality. You're doing something in terms of feeling more connected to your higher power, because I feel that this is very scary for some of you Scorpios. Not because this is a scary person, but because I think this is very different from the type of person you're used to being with. It's very different from the type of relationships that you're used to. And because this person is probably going to take you away from everyone and everything that you're used to. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, okay? So that's what's coming in, my darlings. If you would like a private reading, this is a good week to do it. I'm having a special sale. I'm having a gratitude sale. It is my belief that anytime something good happens, it's good to pay it forward and do something kind for others. And so I had my first ever celebrity private reading. I had a celebrity book a reading with me. I can't say who. I wish I could say. I can't say who. But instead of being a jerk and getting a big head and raising my prices and doing something ridiculous like that, I'm going to have a special. So it's going to be 50% off for 30-minute readings and 50% off 60-minute readings. And if you look at the description in the video, it's going to have a list of the sale prices, and it's going to have a link where you can go on and check the calendar and schedule your reading. I announced this sale yesterday, and when I woke up in the morning, my calendar was booked through mid-March. I'm sorry. I know that's a wait, but these are really good prices, and I'm not trying to brag. I'm a pretty decent reader. The majority of my clients are return clients. The majority of my clients are people who I've been reading for a very long time. So if you've been curious about me, but you haven't taken the chance just yet, this might be a good time to take a chance. Or if you've been wanting a reading and you just really haven't been able to afford it, this is a good chance or a good time to get in on that sale if you feel moved to do so. Check out your finance reading, your spiritual reading, your family life reading. I do those forecasts every single week. They're already up. I will do a full moon video, hopefully within the next 24 hours. But if you subscribe and hit notification, you'll never miss any of the readings. Thank you so very much for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. Thank you, my dears. Till next week.